my people, and this refers to anybody who can relate to that. Joe Biden is not your president. Not then, not now. He's not your president. And I'll tell you why. First, I'm going to go back to 1994, the 1994 crime law, sponsored, written by Joe Biden. Now, this law was responsible for sending large numbers of people of color into the prison industrial complex. And what this law did was to work synergistically with the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment was supposedly there to abolish slavery. It didn't abolish slavery, it set up another channel for slavery. The other channel for slavery was through the prison industrial complex, in which people would be enslaved. They'd be put into cages and then enslaved. So there was the 1994 crime law, which sent large numbers of people of color who were being over-policed in their communities to these jails and prisons to then be introduced into slavery. And this has not been healed, even though weed has become legal, other things have softened. This has not been healed. These people who were sent into the prison industrial complex weren't released. They weren't exonerated. They weren't let go. They are just there. And no one's come to heal this situation. Not even Joe Biden. Now I'm going to tell you the main two reasons, though. And that has to do with lockdowns and mandates. Now, to be fair, lockdowns were inherited from the previous administration. But Joe Biden embraced the lockdowns. The lockdowns were the most destructive, devastating government policy ever introduced for decades, perhaps ever introduced. And the effect on the black communities was so destructive. You could see the long lines forming in front of the soup kitchens. You could see the people on the street. You could see the people begging. You could see the people who lost their jobs and were shut out of the system by lockdowns. Lockdowns were the worst government policy in decades. And there's been nothing to heal that. In fact, perhaps the monies that were needed to heal that are being sent to fight a war in some other country. But added to that were mandates. Mandates, medical mandates, which were removing that civil liberty of bodily autonomy, which led to so many more people losing their jobs, losing their livelihoods, losing their businesses, on top of what was already lost due to lockdowns. And so this and these reasons are the reasons why Joe Biden is not your president. Never was, not today, is not your president. I don't even have to talk about the recent unveiling of this bribery that's going on. I'm just going to focus on those three things: the 1994 crime law, lockdowns, and mandates. And we're going into election for 2024. Joe Biden wants to run for president again. And we're going to need to make some other choices. We're going to have to be talking about these other choices too. Thankfully, in the Democratic Party, there are some great other choices coming in. But one person has been talking about the devastation that lockdowns and mandates have caused to your community, my community, everybody's community. One person's been talking about how to heal that and how to bring the economy back. It's RFK Jr. And we've got to be having this conversation. We've got to be taking these conversations into the communities. How are we going to heal this country? How are we going to recover? How are we going to bring back our civil liberties? So I encourage you to bring this conversation about RFK Jr. into your families, into your communities, to your friends. One love.